Hi guys, I'm Krista and this is my big sister Stacey and this is Sister's Social Call.
We are two sisters talking about everything that sisters talk about. Welcome to our lives.
Giddy up!
Woo! Hey, sissy.
Hey sis, how's it going?
It's going really good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I slept wonky. Well, I had a sore neck yesterday, sore neck, sore shoulder. And then I went to bed and I thought about getting my magic bag on. And then I woke up and could hardly move my neck this morning. So that was not great. I'm doing good aside from the old stiff neck.
That's good. Awesome.
So yeah, what's going on here tonight?
Tonight we are going to be talking about a topic that we as siblings secretly think about, but don't really talk about too often. And that is about birth order and how being the oldest, middle, and youngest child might actually shape our personality, our careers, and even our relationship.
So for our listeners, in episode 12, we introduced our brother and we had him on the show. So Jay is the eldest of the three of us. I'm the baby and Stacey is the middle child. So before you guys listen to this episode, if you haven't already listened to episode 12, you might want to go and have a little listen at that. Just so you get an idea of our sibling dynamics and can understand a little bit more. So do yourself a favor and listen to it if you haven't. But if you have, then keep on listening.
I'm really interested in this subject because I find it so fascinating that the three of us were raised in the same home. And although we share many values like hard work and family as a priority, I think we are more different. I often joke that I am a middle child, so people can psychoanalyze me based on that because there is a middle child syndrome stereotype. And so that's probably where my interest in birth order started. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the theory and the history of the theory, and then we'll get into it a bit more. The first real theory came from Austrian physicist named Alfred Adler in the early 1900s. He believed that your position in the family influences your personality. Adler believed that the firstborn child would be in a favorable position, enjoying the full attention of the eager new parents until the arrival of a second child. The second child would cause the firstborn to suffer feelings of dethronement, no longer being the center of attention. Adler believed that in a three-child family, the oldest child would be the most likely to suffer neuroticism and substance addiction, which he reasoned was a compensation for the feelings of excessive responsibility, the weight of the world on one's shoulder, and the melancholic loss of that once supremely pampered position. As a result, he predicted that this child was the most likely to end up in jail or an asylum.
Jeez.
Youngest children would tend to be overindulged, leading to poor social empathy. Consequently, the middle child, who would experience neither dethronement nor overindulgence, was most likely to develop into a successful individual, yet also most likely to be a rebel and to feel squeezed out. For Adler, birth order answered the question, why do children who are raised in the same family grow up with very different personalities? While a strict geneticist believes siblings are raised in a shared environment, may claim any differences in personality would be caused by subtle variations in individuals' genetics. Adler showed through his birth order theory that children do not grow up in the same shared environment, but the oldest child grows up in a family where they have a younger siblings, the middle child with older and younger siblings, and the youngest with older siblings. The position in the family constellation, Adler said, is the reason for these differences in personality and not genetics.
Well, although Adler did not have the science to back it all up, he did set the stage. Since then, researchers have been trying to figure it out. Is there actually a connection between birth order and who we become? Interesting.
Yeah, fast forward to modern psychology. In the 80s and 90s, some studies found small links between birth order and traits like intelligence or conscientiousness, but results were mixed. And one of the most famous studies that came out in 2007 in the Journal of Science, it looked at 240,000 Norwegian men and found that firstborn scored slightly higher IQ tests. Like not a lot, but enough to notice. That study that was published in Science, the authors stated firstborns had an IQ about 2.3 points higher than their younger siblings. But it wasn't just genetics. It seemed to be the social role of being the firstborn that mattered, not just being born earlier. So sis, What are your initial thoughts on this subject? Do you think birth order has impacted our personalities as siblings?
I was thinking about this. Do I think it has? I think there is probably this stereotypical, we are by society's standards. We probably all do have the typical kind of characteristics of a middle child, a baby, the eldest. I don't know though. I just stuff like this I just don't love to dig too deep into. It's like I don't want to pigeonhole us into something because society thinks. I think Jay, I don't think he felt the weight of the world of trying to make things normal. And I don't really know how to say that, but I do think he still always has viewed us as his little sisters, and maybe, has always kind of felt that, not that he needed to protect us, but maybe that he has that, those are my little sisters, kind of thing. For me, as the baby of the family, yeah, I mean, I march to the beat of my own drum 100%. Do I think I've been treated like a baby of the family? Probably yes. Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. And then you, yeah, for sure. Like you're as by definition, I would say you're probably a classic middle child for sure. But I don't think it's really affected our personalities per se. I think we each have a very unique individual personality. And I think of us as kind of the three musketeers. So I don't know, if you were to see our family from the outside and see us and be like, okay, sure. Yeah. Like there's Stacey's the middle child, Jay's the eldest, Krista's the baby. But if people got to know us pretty deeply, I think that they would see that each of us kind of have characteristics of and I think that has to do with more so growing up in a home of divorced parents. But honestly, I think, you can almost make yourself fit into any stereotype if you really wanted to. So it is what it is. Those are kind of my thoughts on that.
Like you said, we've kind of fit the mold. Jay is the oldest. I think you're right about him having two little sisters. And he has, I think, always been a little bit of a caretaker, even though in somewhat arm's length. But I think he has always kind of looked out for us. He might not have like gotten in the way of our problems, but it's always like an ever-present protection, just quietly going about. So Jay, I do think meets some of the oldest with the responsibilities and the weight of the world on his shoulders, especially in his business. I think that's where he would get that more than necessarily us putting that pressure on him. I definitely would describe myself as a classic middle child, 100%. I don't want to say I felt squeezed out, but I think overlooked, actually. Like, because there was lots going on with Jay and lots going on with you. And I definitely feel like just as a middle kid, like just sometimes just I was in the fray, but not causing any of the fray, just kind of overlooked. I don't think that that's caused me problems as an adult. And then, yes, I do think that there has been some that you meet that baby mold, but not in a bad way. Like when they say overindulgent, sure, but I don't think it's made you entitled. When I think of overindulgence, I feel like it leads to entitlement. And I don't think you've ever been entitled.
No, but I think that's like entirely my personality in everything I do. It's like extra, over the top, big, bold, and my personality and everything I do, good, bad, and the ugly. I mean, I definitely do feel that. But as a young child or being the baby, something that I felt that maybe not in the time, but as I kind of got older, I kind of seen it as like mom and dad had already raised you and Jay, and then there was just me, and it was just kind of like a free range kind of wow child. And I think I felt a lot of times, though I was the baby and everybody was like, oh, she's the baby, blah, blah, blah. I still feel a lot of times I was just kind of out in the world, like on my own, figuring it out. A lot of times it's like I was the baby, but I think by the time they had me, they were done parenting.
Yeah. For me, as the middle, I thought it was interesting to read that they'll most likely develop into a successful individual, yet also most likely to be a rebel. I've developed into a successful individual for sure, but I think all three of us have definitely done that. All of us meet a very different definition of success. Jay's a very successful middle-sized business owner. You are an entrepreneur and very successful in so many of your avenues. I went to university and I'm a successful public servant, so each of us are successful, but in very different ways. But if people use a measurement of education, then yes, like I am very successful in that. But I don't think you can use tools like that to say a middle child is going to be more successful, because I see all three of us as successful.
And I don't even define success by that. To me, success is if you're happy or not.
Yeah.
And if you're miserable, then you're not successful. I don't care what you're doing. I think we're all successful in the fact that we're happy, solid human beings. And to me, that is the greatest success of all, because that's not the case for a lot of people. But again, by society's definition of successful, then of course, like we all have our areas where we are successful, different avenues.
I laughed though at the part where it talks most likely to be a rebel. I have never rebelled ever in my entire life. The one time that I snuck out in grade 8, I think, at 3 in the
I was
morning.
going to bring that up.
Mom came in looking for me, and I'm like, and that was my one and only rebellious moment in my life. One and only, and done.
Yeah, I probably made up for all of yours and mine and Jay's together. Combined, but hey, here we are. Those were little blips, and honestly, the rebelliousness and the craziness really all, when I look back at it, honestly subsided by the time I was probably 25. Well, when you're young like that, you're supposed to do dumb shit. Like that's the time, not 30 plus, because that's the time you're supposed to be creating a life for yourself. Though I think about, oh man, I did a lot of dumb shit in those 25 years or 27 years or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, that's what people do at that point in life, Not everybody, but it's like, sometimes I get hard on myself about it. And then it's just like, oh, I was just young. Like when I tell people kind of my story, I'm like, oh, I was just young. That's what people do. I learned from those things, but I crammed a lot into those years.
That was almost 20 years ago. More of your life has been devoted to bettering yourself, bettering your business, making a life with you and Mark. Most of your life actually now has been dedicated to that.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, I realized very quickly that that wasn't the life I wanted to live. That living like that wasn't meant for me. That wasn't my path in life. I'm always growing and I'm always learning more about myself, and it's a constant work in progress. But it's work that it's good work to do on yourself, and so I think it's all good, and it's great when it's like, oh yeah, more than half my life has surpassed that. It's great. At the end of the day, when I think about the shit that I did, it truly pales in comparison to some of the stuff that's going on in the world now, It's pretty, I mean, it's all relative for the time in the life, whatever, but it's just like there is some heavy stuff going on in the world and people are suffering. And anyways, but yeah, no, I do think that you're for sure the middle child, definitely not rebellious at all, but I think it created some problems for you at certain times in your life. Maybe just that whole middle child syndrome, feeling kind of overlooked, all that kind of stuff. But you have navigated that really gracefully as an adult and not allowed that to be the foundation for your life. I think people sometimes get in their head about stuff like that, and then that's kind of how they live, Well, no, you don't. You've taken it in stride, and you've done the work that you needed to do in regards to how you were feeling, and maybe continue to still do that as things crop up in your life from being that and growing up like that. But you're a great middle sister. You're the greatest grounder for both me and Jay.
I mean, I feel like I'm a peacekeeper in our family.
We're not
there's
not a lot of conflict.
But I do think I've provided, I guess maybe it is a grounding role, but I do feel like I've been a peacekeeper. And sometimes navigating spicy situations, say like when we're traveling with mom, if we're getting a little like frustrated with each other because we're just tired or whatever, I feel like I can meet the peace within the
and you can read the room and adjust what needs to go down at that point in time.
Chrissy, you need to eat something.
Yes, you're hungry and tired. Mom, we need a break. We're going to sit in the crow's nest and chill out while you have a nap.
Yeah, and from both of you, I'm going to go to the hydrotherapy spa 5 times.
I'll be in the hydrotherapy spa for the next 7 hours. All good. All good.
Anyways, let me share what more recent research says about birth order. A 2015 meta-analysis published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences looked at over 370,000 high school students and found that actually birth order has no significant effect on personality. And the authors wrote, we found no meaningful effects of birth order on extroversion, emotional stability, agreeableness, conscientiousness, or imagination. So basically, you might think your sibling is more responsible or fun just because of their birth order, but science says it's probably not that simple. So there you go.
So if birth order doesn't really shape personality or intelligence much, why do we still feel like it does, or that we continue to put weight into Adler's theory?
It's more likely family dynamics. Like parents might expect the firstborn to be more responsible so that kid steps into that role. It's less more about birth order itself and more about how the family reacts to it. A 2021 study in Journal of Family Psychology found that perceived parental favoritism had a bigger impact on sibling relationships than actual birth order. So, sis, let's talk about favoritism in our family. And if you think that has impacted our relationships, I will tell you right now that I definitely did not feel like the favorite child. So, what do you think?
I think I caused a lot of stress in the family. I don't think I was the favorite. I think my parents might have been a little bit afraid of me because I have always been very vocal. I don't know. I guess maybe I got away with, I don't know, did I get away with more? I always felt like I was in trouble. I don't know. I'm sure Jay was probably the favorite.
I would agree. Jay, I would say, was the favorite. But we know he was Granny's favorite. 100%.
Yeah. And he was just kind of like a steady Eddie, easygoing kind of guy. Like, I don't really remember him wavering too much. And still, to this day, he's the exact same he's ever been.
Yep. 100%.
You know? And so I know I caused lots of grief in the family.
Well, and let's just call it that Jay was probably the favorite since he's not here.
Yeah, I honestly do think he was. To be fair, he was definitely the golden child, I think. We'll say he's probably the favorite, but I'm sure that our parents truly loved us all equally the same.
I'd love to hear if Jay thinks he was the favorite.
It would be interesting because for me, I don't have a lot of memories from being really young, but Jay would remember more because he's older, so he would remember how we were treated and how if we got away with things or who got in trouble more. I don't really remember a lot of that stuff. Like once I got older into my teen years, of course I do, but for when we were young, I don't know. Kind of an interesting thing to think about for sure.
In any case, birth order might shape your family story, but it's not your destiny. Your personality is influenced by so many things, including your genes, your environment, your friends.
It's fun to joke about it. So yes, I'll still say you're the bossy one and I'm the cute one.
I'll say you're spoiled. Anyways, why don't we turn it over to our peaks, pits, and plans? I went first last week. Why don't you go first this week?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with my pit. It just happened yesterday. Well, it started 2 days ago. So I came home from the farm and I was driving. It had rained pretty hard close to where I live. And I was driving the Craven back road from the number 6 highway to, I forget what the number is, that back road. But anyways, when I got off the grid and started driving towards Lumsden, my car started to shake really bad. And so I just assumed it was probably mud from the gravel road because that's what happens. I have these stupid low profile tires, which I hate. So whatever. I make it home. I head to the car wash, spray out the tires and the rims, whatever. And I thought I was doing better, but of course I don't have to go far from the car wash to my house. So the next day I had to go into Regina for an appointment with Christine. And on the way in, my car was shaking like pretty bad. So I got hold of my friend Kevin. He's the general manager of the Hyundai dealership. And I said, would you mind if I just pop in just to have a look? Because my car is shaking pretty bad. And he said, well, it's probably mud in the tires. And I said, well, I did blow it out yesterday pretty good, but he said it doesn't take much. So, but said bring it on in, of course. And so I took it in. Oh my gosh, you guys, my driver's front wheel was loose. It was loose. The nuts were loose. All but one nut was loose. Mark the night before, he suggested a couple things. He said, well, check the nuts. Well, I just checked them with my fingers because I assumed if it was loose, I would feel it with my fingers. But no, the guy at the dealership said they were finger tight, but they need to be.
Would you like to rephrase that at all?
That's exactly what he said.
Carry on.
They were tightened as much as a finger could tighten them. So, of course, I wouldn't feel that. But yeah, so that could have been really freaking bad because I was driving on the highway at 120 going into Regina. I was so grateful for them. They were so fabulous. I was thanking them. I said, oh my gosh, You guys saved my life today. So over the top. Anyways, I was very thankful because I know how bad that could have been. My whole tire could have fallen off. It could have broke all the studs off. It could have been horrific. And going at highway speeds, it could have caused me to roll my car. Like it could have been super bad. So anyways, that was my pit. Yeesh. Okay, so then into my peaks. Well, I guess that was a pit, but the peak was that I caught, I was able to take it in and nothing major happened. So thankfully, and of course, the people at Allende were so great. That's always a high, like a super high. And my friend Kevin, that's there. He's always goes above and beyond him and his staff. So I can't say enough good things about that. That's definitely a peak. Then I started planting my garden on the weekend. So of course that's huge for me because as soon as I can be playing in the dirt and getting that all going, it's just, that's my jam. That's my place. So, and then Mark, he must not be too mad that I almost started the ranch on fire because he replaced all my hoses that burnt in the fire. So that was really sweet of him. He got me a few other things too for the garden. He's so sweet. He's so kind. So that was a super high because I was telling him, we gotta go garage selling. I need to find new hoses. And I have people on the lookout for hoses for me because they're expensive and I'm cheap. Anyway, don't matter. That was a high. He's knocked me back up. And he's probably thinking it's cheaper to buy you more hoses and get those hooked up than having a freaking fire. I should let you guys know too that I moved the fire pit to the middle of the garden. So there's no grass anywhere near it. It's in the middle of straight dirt. I want to get some concrete pads and put them underneath of it and have this whole area, but there's nowhere it can start any grass on fire. So I did fix that. And then another peak that just happened today, you guys, I know in the last episode I talked about how I want a Juice Plus package, so I got all the supplements. Today I won a gym membership for 3 months at Wilkie Wellness, which is the gym in Lumsden, and 5 free classes. And so my friend Jolynn just started teaching a Pilates class there, and I hadn't been there before. And I fell in love with this class, and I've only been able to go a couple times, but I can go to different classes because there's classes at different times. I just haven't had the chance to yet, but I've been saying how badly I need to do something different than at-home workouts. I'm desperate to get back into the gym, and I freaking won a pass today. A 3-month gym membership, and oh my gosh, so that was super. I'm so pumped. So that's the second thing I won. I just was telling Stacey the other night, I said, well, when I start winning, like when I win something, I usually go on a bit of a winning streak. And here I am, my second thing in a week that I've won. So crazy. Anyway, and then my plans, I don't have much for plans other than seriously putting all my time and energy into planting the garden for the next, every day I'm at the farm, I'll just be planting the garden. And then every day that I'm at home, I'm working long days because it's very busy right now and it's crazy. So that's pretty much it for me. It's my favorite time of the year. Being in the garden in the dirt, honestly, it is my magical place. So that's going to do it for me. Sissy, let me know about all your pits, peaks, and plants this week.
Oh, pits. I actually don't have any again. Grateful for that. Everything's really just moving along just swiftly. Peaks. Well, I had a lovely long weekend. The weather wasn't great, but on Saturday I had a pickleball lesson and then we checked out the new brewery in Invermere. So those are really fun things. I'm really enjoying pickleball. I took tennis lessons a while ago and tennis is fun, but it is hard. Pickleball is fun and it's not as hard, but my knees were sore afterwards because I was running around a little bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying some more pickleball. I wrote that down as something I want to learn in my 40s. So here I am learning how
I
to
want
do
to
it.
learn too. I haven't made it to our pickleball yet, but I do want to because everybody rants and raves about how great it is. So maybe when I come visit you next time, you'll have to take me to a lesson or something.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, and then the brewery was delightful. I really missed having good beer and community in Invermere.
Is it good beer?
Yeah, there are some beers that I like there. So I'm happy about that. And then on Sunday, Sean sold his BMX bike and we went on a little road trip down to Creston to meet the buyers there because they are from Selmo, which is about an hour and a bit from Creston. So we met in the middle and we went for lunch at a well-known fish and chip place, and we walked around downtown, and we went to their brewery, and we went to one of their garden centers. So yeah, Little Creston was a good time. I really want to go there this summer because they have giant gardens. They got cherries down there. They got apples. So I would love to get down there in the summer when it's popping off and go to the orchards.
Yes, that sounds so good.
It was like downpouring in Creston when we were there. So it was like just nice to get like just do a little road trip and not feel guilty that you're in a car, when it's blistering hot out because it was really just raining. It was really good.
Yeah. Nothing better to do than go for a cruise when it's rainy and crappy out.
I had an extra day off this week. I work 4-day work weeks. And because we call them flex days, my flex always on Mondays. And because flex was on Monday, I got Tuesday off. So yesterday I was just puttering around the house which relates to my plans, I'm leaving for a 12-day road trip, 11, 12 days. So that's what's in my world. I'm hitting the road tomorrow, Thursday, after I'm done work, and I'm going to drive to Kamloops. I work fully remote from home, but I had to pick a office that would be like my home office anyways, Kamloops is actually my home office, which is 5.5 hours away from my actual home. And so I'm going to swing in there. So go to Kamloops tomorrow night and then work in the Kamloops office on Friday. And I'm very excited because, I have colleagues that work out of that office, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the Provincial Regional Emergency Operations Center. So that will be really interesting. And then Friday after I'm done work, I'm driving to Vancouver, and I'm going to surprise my best friend, Kimmy, for her birthday. She doesn't know I'm coming, but this will air after I surprise her. And she thinks I'm coming on Saturday, but I'm going to surprise her Friday for her birthday. Her husband knows, and Kimmy, when you listen to this, you and I scheme this up that I come on Friday night. And and then we'll spend all day Saturday and Sunday together and Monday. And then I'm going to go to Victoria for a few days and work out of our offices in Victoria. And then I'm going to yoga camp with Zena. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm so excited. Oh, and then I'll probably, on my way back, I'm going to stop in a Soyuz and see my old boss and actually some friends from Regina who are going to be in Penticton. So it is like a whirlwind of activity for this little road trip, but I'm so excited. I think it'll be great and very heart fulfilling.
It's amazing. The things that make you excited. That sounds exhausting to me. But then you probably think, oh my God, planting a 1/4-acre garden by hand is exhausting to me.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, we're so different in some ways. So, but yeah, that'll be wonderful for you. And that's going to fill your bucket up hugely because that is what you love. So you're going to have a wonderful 2 weeks. I can't wait to hear about it when you get back.
Yeah. Quality time with people. That's my love language. Quality time.
Really? Mine is quality time, but not with a lot of people. I mean, I enjoy that because today I had great clients in and like deep, lovely, intense chats. That's my jam.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I'm not doing that, I don't want it anymore. I do with my family, but I'm okay if I don't see anybody for my weekends ever. I'm just like, I'll see Mark and hide out in the garden. Totally cool.
Which I totally understand for somebody that works with the public every day.
Yeah, that's true. And you work at home, so you're not around people all the time. So fair. But yeah, no, you got a jam-packed next 2 weeks. We better see some posts on the Instagram, like day updates.
Boy, yeah, I can. I just didn't want to inundate people with road trip photos.
Well, you'll be doing some cool shit. So slap some on there. Keep people posted up. What's going on?
Yogi camp will be amazing. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see my colleagues, excited to see my best friend. I'm just so excited to, just fill my cup up with people that I adore. So, and love deeply.
That sounds great, sis.
So that concludes our show today. Sissy, why don't you do our thank yous?
Well, you guys, Stacey and I had a huge thing happen this week, and we surpassed 1,000 downloads. So thank you so much for joining us in the Sister Social called Journey. Oh my gosh, you guys, so great. So thank you for that. Again, if you guys like the episode, if you guys have siblings and you think this would be an interesting conversation, share it with them. Share it with your friends. Share it with everybody. The more you share, the more people are exposed to our podcast and the more people that will get to hear us. So if you love it, share it. And if you guys haven't followed us on Instagram, you can. We are on there as Sister Social Call. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, You can listen to us there. And yeah, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And Stacey, you can find her on LinkedIn and Facebook. And I think that's going to wrap it up for us, you guys.
Awesome. Love you, sissy.
Love you, sis.